All right, and we are live. So, welcome everyone to this course where I'm going to use Unity and get some modular pieces for a graphic package that I'm getting from appsfresh.com and show you how to build a village, a voxel village, like kind of like Minecraft, but for medieval fantastic, like World of Warcraft style. But I'm going to show you a few pictures of uh, of what we're going to be trying to achieve and how we're going to tackle this. So if you have any question, now is the time. Feel free to go in the chat and ask any question or in the forum. And if you feel like following along, make sure you download the graphics pack. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to share my screen. All right. And you should be able to see my screen. So go to appsfresh.com, and then once you're there, locate the package for the Unity Modular Village. Take the free edition or take the professional edition, it's up to you. Basically, the free edition is just a subset of the professional edition. You have enough to create a village, but obviously with the professional one, you can create a huge village with more choices. All right, so click on view or purchase. It says purchase, but it's free, so just click there, then download it. And at the end, once you download, what you're going to get is a Unity package. So let me show you what we're going to try to achieve. Like if we're doing a fantasy game, what I want to do right now is a battleground, like an arena battleground, like World of Warcraft, something like this, where people can play multiplayer online and play 1 against 1 or 2 versus 2 or 5 versus 5, and basically the one that kills the other guys on the team wins the tournament. And that's what I want to achieve here. But before I do so, the first step is to obviously create the actual arena inside of Unity. Now I'm going to do an arena, but that's not the only thing that I can do with that village. I could create a village for to explore, for like a game like let's say World of Warcraft, where I can go questing, or even like a Minecraft type of game with a whole world, or even just an RTS, real-time strategy like StarCraft, where we can do one village against another village or things like that. All right, so let me see. Is anyone asking something live? No, so we can keep going. Let's see. Yes, we do have a few questions. So should you start an empty project, or should you start or should you start with a project that you may already have? Well, you can start with an empty project because we're going to start from scratch, but I'm not going to start with an empty project. I'm going to start with characters that I already have so that I can just plug and play and add them into my scene, and I already know the scaling of the objects. All right, having said so, let's get started. So once you go on AppsFresh and download the modular village, what you have to do is get the Unity package. So you're going to end up with a Unity package, and let me show you. I'm just going to type it here. That's called village dash package village dash full. I'm going to go with the full one. You probably have a sample one. And so let me explain you what this is all about. So this package is going to be a Unity package that you're going to import inside of Unity. Let me see, mine should be here inside of projects. Let's see, I believe it's here. No, it's not here, so then it's in courses. All right, once you download yours, you have it straight. So I'm not going to go through the download because I already have it on my computer. But once you download it, it's straightforward. Okay, so you end up with a package here. And as you can see, I have the two packages. I have the free edition and I have the professional edition. So that's all you have right now, these two packages. Now, what you have to do is open Unity. If you don't have it, just open it, \space, Unity. And mine's already open, and I already have a scene, but feel free to create a scene from scratch. Now, let me show you what my scene is about. I basically have a few trees and some green pastries already, just for the sake of having something to start with. But you don't have to have that. You can start from scratch. And what you have to do is import the package. Click on Assets, Import Package, and here click on Custom Package. And once you do that, locate the Unity package, which would be, as you can see, I have a package here, but let me just look for it. Okay, then there would be Unity. I'm just basically looking for the package. Okay, it says .unity package at the end, so it's very easy to figure out where it is. Okay, packages. All right, so you probably have the sample one. So just click on it and click on open. Once you do that, what's going to happen is that it's preparing the package, and then you can select what exactly you want to import from that package. Now, what you should do here is select all and import. Right now it says nothing to import, and the reason why it says that is because I already imported it. But it will say import or import all. Okay. All right. Now that this is done, you will end up with, instead of the project assets, you will end up with a folder called village. And once you click on that village folder, you'll see a bunch of different assets. Here I have some balconies, beams to create houses, bridges, then fences to create fence and gates, different floors for the floor, and also some like doors and plants and trees, and everything that we need to create a village. Now you can add more things yourself, but that's definitely more than enough to start building. All right, so now I'm going to start creating the village. And what I want to do is actually make it modular. So everything is by module here, but I want to make it even more modular. Now, what do I mean by more modular? I mean that I need to create prefabs so that things can be reused. And that's how I'm going to start. But before I even go somewhere, I'm going to add a character so that I can see the size of the scaling of how big or how small should the walls be, all the items be. So I'm going to look inside of my Unity assets and locate man1. And that's actually a prefab of a character. And I'm just going to drag and drop this. Now, for those of you that take my courses, you will have that man prefab. You probably already have it if you're already one of my students. All right, so if I click there, I can go to the scene and I can double click on it and I can see the man is right there. Excellent. And what I'm going to do, I see that the feet are inside of the floor. So I'm going to move it up by moving the arrow up. And that's it. Now the feet are above the floor. Okay, excellent. Now, this is already fully animated. So if I press play, I'll be able to see it move. So I'm going to press play just for the sake of showing it to you. And this character will be moving. Now, this is just for the sake of looking at sizes, but this character is already unanimated. Okay, so we don't have to do the animation. I can go to the scene and let's see what the character is. I can double click on it. Yes, it's, I need to, okay, here it is. You guys see it? All right, so the character is all here and already animated. But anyway, I'm going to stop that. Okay, and now let's proceed by elimination. The first thing that we want to create is the floor. Why? It's just like you're building a city. You want to start by the floor so that the floor dictates where you're going to put the homes and all the different objects that are outdoors. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. And inside of the village folder, I see that there is something, a folder called floors, and that's what we want to start with. Now, there's a bunch of different floors, and I could take the floor grass. Now, I already have a green grass, as you can see, but I could go and drag and drop this grass inside of my project. I can just do that, and that's what I'm going to do. I just drop it, and here we go. I have the floor grass. Now, I can double click on it to see where it is. Right now, it's hard to see, but I can pull it up, and I can see it. So it's a patch of grass. It's pretty cool because it adds to the green area that I have right now. So it's much better to have this grass than the actual grass that I have right now. So what I need to do next is place it. How do I place it? Well, I'm going to move it inside of my project. And I'm going to move it where my character is. So you might wonder where the character is. Well, I actually know the character is right to the right of it. So here it is. And I put the grass right below my character so that I can have a feel of the grass and how it looks like. All right, so it's a 3D pixel art. Here we go. Now I'm going to take my character and push it up a little bit so that we can see it walk on grass. Okay, so that's it. I have one patch of grass. Now feel free to create multiple patches of grass. So I'm going to use the grass and the floor stone to create something interesting. And one good example right now is to take the floor stone and create a pathway. So I'm going to take that floor stone and I'm going to drop it right here. And you know what you might have to do is change the scale. But technically, it should already be scaled the right way because I've done that earlier. So I know that the scaling is good. So I'm just moving the floor here so that I'm going to do the flooring and put this next to the grass. And obviously, what you want to do is save time. And the best way to save time is to create prefabs and duplicate them. So I'm going to create a road of let's say, four units. So I'm going to take this piece right here that we just added, and I'm going to duplicate that. How do you duplicate that? Well, it's pretty straightforward. I select the floor stone, and I duplicate by pressing Command D to duplicate. Command D, and now I'm going to move it. All right. Here we go. Now I'm going to do this again, Command D, and move it again. All right. And then we can do this one more time. So that would be a length of 4. Command D, and here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is have a patch of grass at the center and have the pathways around it. So now that I have all the floor stone duplicated, what I'm going to do next is create a prefab out of this. So you need to select all the floor stones and add them inside of an object. So I'm going to create a new empty object by clicking on Game Object, Create Empty. And what I'm going to do is put it at position 0, 0, 0. So change the position to 0, 0, 0. And then let's take the floor inside of it. And let's take the 4 floors and put it inside of it. All right. And call this one pathway. So pathway stone, so that I know that it's made out of stone. All right. Now, something else that I probably want to do is modify these so that they are the center of the pathway stone. So one way is to select them all and put them at 0, 0, 0. It's not that great, but it's a good start. So 0, 0, 0. All right. And then start moving them around. How do you move them? Well, I already showed you. So leave the floor stone 1 there, take the floor stone 2, move it. Maybe I need to move the whole pathway up. Yep, so that I can see it. Here we go. All right, take the floor stone 1 and move it. Then we're going to take the floor stone 2 and move it as well. And then the floor stone 3, move it as well. All right, so we replicated the pathway. And now that we have the pathway stone, I'm going to create a prefab out of this. Well, it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to create a new folder in my assets. I'm going to right-click, create folder. And this folder will be for my new prefab. So I'm going to call this one prefabs environment. Why? So that I know that, or just prefabs village, so that I know that this is what helps me to create the village. All right. And now I'm going to double click on it. And I'm going to take the pathway stone that I just created here, and I'm going to drag and drop it inside of the inside of that folder. So drag and drop this inside of the folder. And here we go. We have a prefab that's already done for us. Excellent. Now that we have this prefab, I'm going to make another prefab with the grass. So I'm going to move that grass to the right of it. And actually, what I'm going to do is duplicate this, but before I do so, I want to create a new prefab out of this. So I'm going to click on Game Object, Create Empty, and I'm going to name this game object Grass Strip. All right, so that is a strip of grass, and I'm going to add the floor grass inside of it. Here we go. Position it at 0, 0, 0. Right, and move the grass inside of it at 0, 0, 0. All right. Why do we put everything to 0? So that it's easier for the prefabs, so that we always have the prefabs centered. All right. Now that it's at 0, I'm going to move it a little bit so that we can see it. Here we go. And now what I'm going to do is create a patch. All right. So I have one. I'm going to create a patch of 4 by 4. So I'm going to duplicate this one. Taking the floor grass, Command D to duplicate. Move it here. All right. Command D again. Move it. And so far it's 3. It might be a bit too much, but that's good enough. Yes, I'm going to go and duplicate it again. All right. So that's 4 by 4. Here we go. Now that I have that, I'm going to create a prefab. I drag and drop the grass strip. And now I have a second prefab. And why do I create all these prefabs? Well, now look at the beauty of this. I can just take the prefab and add it inside of my scene by drag and drop it to my scene. And guess what's going to happen now? I have a second prefab. I can just move it, and now I can easily duplicate them. And I'm going to go ahead and add one more by pressing Command D to duplicate that and move it. So as you can see now, I can quickly add more grass to my project. Now I'm going to take the pathway stone and duplicate it, Command D to duplicate, and I'm going to move it right there. All right, so far so good. And now I'm going to duplicate that again. So Command D to duplicate, and I'm going to move it and rotate it by 90 degrees. I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis. Why? So that it's 90 degrees perpendicular. Here we go. And now I can easily move it so that we have a new strip. And I'm going to duplicate that 2 more times. But before I do so, I want to center it somewhere around here. Command D to duplicate it. So add it here. All right. And one more time, Command D, and pull it to the right of it. So as you can see, in no time, I'm creating pathways, and it starts to look really good already. All right. So what you could do also is take these pathways and duplicate them again, and add new ones. But what I want to do is have all of this inside of an environment so that it's easy to modify and move around. So I'm going to create a new game object, create empty, and call this one village. All right, and now I can move all the objects inside of that village. All right, I'm going to take the grass strips, put them inside of the village, and the pathway as well. All right, excellent, cool. So now we have the village that we are building really quickly. Let me add some more roads to this. Now I'm going to select some pieces of it. Now it could become difficult to select stuff at some point, so you have to either select them here or just move them from the prefabs or create new prefabs out of them. All right, so I'm going to take the last 3 pathways and duplicate them and move them. Here we go. All right, cool. So now I'm going to take all the grass strips and duplicate that again. Command D to duplicate and move it. All right, and one more time, Command D to duplicate and move it. Here we go. So now we have enough for the floor. We can start with that. That's enough to get some floor. And what you could do now is actually take a look at it by moving the camera. You can go to the game and move the camera. That's one way, or move what we just added right now. So one way or another, it just works. I would advise you to actually move the at some point, move the new village so that it is where the camera is, because the game is based on where the camera is right now. But feel free to move the camera. Okay, so now that we have that, the next step. So let me show you. I'm going to move the camera so that it's easy to see. Select the camera, and I'm going to try to move it so that we can easily see it. Sometimes it's not that easy. Let's see. Okay. Yes, so good. So I'm getting exactly where we need to go. I can see it in the small camera below. All right, here we go. Cool. And now I'm going to move it a little bit down. All right. Now, if I go to the camera, let's see, we should be able to see everything. Clicking on the game. Yep, here we go. We have exactly what we just built in orthographic view. Now, yours might not look the same, but that's okay. Because I have an orthographic camera. If you look at my main camera, I have a projection that's orthographic to make it look in like 2D/3D. But if you do perspective, it's going to look just the way you already know about. Okay. All right. So now that I have that, I can start creating houses. But before you do so, you can add stuff to the floor and to make it a bit more unique, because right now it's a bit too dull. So to make it unique, go inside of the village folder and locate the others folder. Inside of that folder, you have some flower pots or trees. You can take a tree and definitely add a quick tree right there. So I just drag and drop the tree, and here we go. We have one tree. I'm going to add another tree, and I can move things around. So I can select the tree and start moving it around. Okay. Obviously, do not move it on the y-axis. Move it only on the x or z-axis. Why? Because the y-axis is going to move it up. You don't want to move the tree up. You want to move it to the right side or the left side, okay? All right, so that could be it. Now, I don't want to add too much into the game yet. I can actually make the tree smaller by putting to 0.4, 0.4, 0.4. Okay, so it's a smaller tree. I can put it at the center so that we can actually see it. Here we go. But that's not all I could do. What I could do next also is start adding flowers to it. So I can take the flower pot and put it at the center. Now I want to add the flower pot inside of my village so that I can see it. Okay, and then I can double click on it. But go to the scene. I can double click on the flower pot and start moving it so that it's inside of the scene. All right. Press F to focus on it. F for focusing. Okay, so don't worry about the fact that we have water around it. We can easily remove that or move the water or even move the whole village because the village is inside of the prefab now, so we can move the entire village. Okay, so some flowers, I'm going to move them up a little bit. Here we go. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees on the y-axis. Where did it go? I don't see it anymore, so let me cancel that. Okay, selecting it, rotating it. Okay, yes, 90 degrees, perfect. And if I go to the game, I can actually see the plants here, but we don't want the plants here. We want the plants to be around the houses, but we don't have any houses yet. But we're going to have houses soon. So I'm going to take this flower pot and move it. So I'm going to move it on the x-axis so that there will be like a bend around the road, and I'm going to duplicate that. So Command D to duplicate. So duplicate and move. Go to the scene to move it. All right, I'm just going to put 3 of them. All right, and always go inside of the game to take a look at what we're doing. Okay, so it's starting to look pretty good already. So far, so good. Let me see if anyone has any questions so far. Let's see. Yep, we do have a few questions. Okay, it's just people are talking to each other. Okay, I have go. Okay, yes. So yes, we will have this available for later view. If you have any question, feel free to keep asking, but definitely we'll make this available. It might not be for free though, so make sure you keep listening right now, because right now it's free for the people that are live, that came all the way and did that. All right, so keeping on moving, going back to Unity, the next step is to actually add the homes and make the homes. My computer is very, very slow right now. Thank you for your... Okay, so next, making the homes. So to make the home, I'm going to create a new prefab inside of it. So I'm going to take the village and move it for now. So select the village and move it with the x-axis. So I can definitely just and moving that. Okay, so we don't see it anymore, but it's still there. If you want it back, you can put that to 0 and it will come back. But right now, I just moved it away. And the trees are still here because they're not part of the, I have not put them inside of the village. So I'm going to select them and put them back inside of the village. Excellent. So now I can move the village by selecting the village and put it at -100. So that moves the village away. All right, so we only left with the character. Now let's build a home. So I'm going to right click and create an empty project, an empty game object and call it home1 or home small, because it's going to be a small home. All right, and now that I have that, I'm going to add Since it's going to be only from the outside, I don't need to add the floor of the home. I just need to add the walls. So I'm going to select the walls by selecting walls here and the style that I want to pick. I'm going to go with not a stone look like, but let's go with a wall that light stone, so light walls, light looking walls. So I'm going to drag and drop the front door inside of home small. I can go to the scene and double click on it to see where it is. Okay, so that's where it is. That's fine for now, but I'm going to put this at 0, 0, 0. And I'm going to select the other walls as well. So what I want to do is add this type of walls. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop this inside and put it at 0, 0, 0 as well. All right. And we're going to need to create the roof as well. So I'm going to select the roof. So click on roof, and I'm going to select which roof I want. I'm going with a red roof. Okay, so I'm going to select this red color, and that will be for my roof. So I'm going to drag and drop this for my roof. Actually, I'm going to make it all just like this one, very small house. So this one will do with a yellow rooftop. Okay. All right. So put this at 0, 0, 0 again. All right. So 0, 0, 0, so that it's all centered. Excellent. And now if I just double click on home small, I see them all right here. Now they're all on top of each other, and that's totally fine. I'm going to select the roof and move it up a little bit so that it doesn't bother us. Okay. And now I need to build the house. So I'm going to select the wall that's made of wood. So I'm going to remove for now the wall light stone. I'm not going to use it actually. I can just remove it and take the wall that just added, this wall right here. And I'm going to, I also need an entrance. So let's add a door entrance by going to the walls and locate the one that has an entrance. So this one will do just fine. Drag and drop it as well. And put it at 0, position 0. Cool. And let's move it. All right. So I need a door. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees on the y-axis, 90. All right. And I'm going to make sure that this touches the floor, and that will become part of what's on the floor. Here we go. Right. Now I need to make the actual walls. And to do this, I need to follow, I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees, and I need to follow the roof. So let's build the roof on top of that. I'm going to make a small house, so I need to make a small roof. Well, how do we make a small roof? Well, it's pretty straightforward. To make a small roof, we take the roof that we have here, and we start duplicating it and rotating it. So I'm going to take this roof, and I'm going to press Command D to duplicate, and start rotating it. So I'm going to press E to rotate, and rotate on the y-axis by 180. Okay, here we go. And now I have it rotated. And I'm going to move it. All right. And so I have the roof in one side and on the other side. But if I want it on both sides, what I need to do is duplicate this one and mirror it. So I'm going to duplicate, Command D, and mirror it by putting the scale to -1, I believe, on the x-axis. No, that's not on the x. Then that's going to be on the z. Let's see. Yep, on the z-axis, I put a -1 to make it scale the other side. And now I can move it. Here we go. Now I'm going to select both and move them in the front. And as you can see, in no time, I'm creating a roof, right? So let's do the other side as well. Now, we may not need the other side because we're not going to show the other side, but just for the sake of learning, I'm going to do it on the other side as well. So I'm going to move that so that it follows the main roof. Here we go. Let me put this down so that you guys can see it better. All right, so this needs to connect. So I'm going to connect them. All right. And I'm going to duplicate this. Now, how do we duplicate this part? Well, I'm going to press Command D to duplicate and put a negative scale of -1 for the Z and move that new one so that it follows the other one. All right. And now I have the roof. Now that the roof is done, the next step is to add the walls below. So what I like to do is create a new object for the roof. So I'm going to right-click and do a create empty inside of the home small. And I'm going to call this one roof. Here we go, and take the 4 roof icons and move them inside of the empty roof. Here we go. All right, so now I have the roof, and I'm going to move the walls. So I select the 2 walls and move them, and they need to go right below the roof. So to make sure that we have them right below, I'm going to select the home small right here and move just the roof. So select the roof and move the roof down. All right, so that it can like touch it. All right, and let's position it the right way. So now, it's just a bunch of trying to have things at the right spot. That's all it is. Okay, that's about right. I probably want to move the roof now a bit more up and a bit more to the right side. Here we go. All right. So now we have the roof and the walls I already have and duplicate it. So just select any wall without the door and Command D to duplicate. And let's rotate it by 90 degrees on the y-axis. And let's move it around. Okay, almost there. All right, and duplicate that again, Command D. Now, I'm going to side. Very important step here. Well, my computer is very slow, so I'm going to put it back to create. Now, remember to download the free package from appsfresh.com and start building your own as well.